This movie demonstrates the ease of use of fluidReports. I will show an example to create a simple report, the different options to publish it. The process of designing a report is broken up into 6 steps. Step 1 being data retrieval. In the first tab here, we will select the data source. You can see there's multiple data sources to select from. I will select a CSV file to show you the example. I'm going to browse to the file that I've set up earlier, which is called data.csv. I'm going to open it, and you can see that I can select all the columns that's in there. Make sure that the date is the same format as the date you've got in the CSV file. I'm going to select OK. Now you can see that the data source is added to the list. You can add multiple different data sources by repeating the step that I've shown. The next step is setting options to manipulate your data in the Calculation Sources tab, but that's going to be handled in another video. I'm going to move on to the third step, which is report design. Click on the Design Edit button to open the designer. At the right pane of the report editor is a list of plotting components that you can select. I'm going to select the graph area component and drag it to my design space. You can continue to add more components to your design space. For this example, I will use only one component. To edit this graphing component, right-click and under Extended Plot Properties, select Graph Wizard. In the Graph Wizard, you will see a preview of how the chart is going to look. In the list at the bottom, I will add 3 series for the chart. The first series for a sinus wave, the second for a random signal, and the third series for a signal with lost data. I will also increase the width of the lines to make the series more visible. Next, I will add a title to the chart. I will also make the chart a little bit wider, and I can add some color to the chart for aesthetics. I'm going to select to display the legend, display a shadow, and interpolate lines to make it smooth. I will increase the range of the axe and give it a new name. And I will select OK. I'm done with the design of my report, so I'm going to select Save and Quit. Now I can move on to the next step, which is data mapping. In the Data Mapping tab, a list will appear of all the series in my chart. Each entry has a drop-down list that contains all the data streams from my data sources. I will select the data stream to correspond to each series in my chart. After the mapping is done, I'm ready to test my report. Under Scheduler, I'm going to select Execute Now. fluidReports will generate your report and display it in a browser window. In this report, you can see the sine wave in blue, the random signal in green, and in red, an example of a signal with missing data. You can return to the report editor for further editing if necessary. I'm going to continue with the next step, setting up the scheduler. Set the frequency of which fluidReports you generate your report, as well as the starting date and time. I will set the scheduler to generate a report every day at 8 o'clock containing the data of the last day. If you would like your data period to differ from your generation frequency, you can customize your data period. The next step is to set up the deployment of the report. By default, it's set to display in a window, which is mostly used for testing your report. I will now configure fluidReports to save all my generated reports to disk. In the configuration window, browse to a folder to save your reports. I'm going to choose the report folder on my C drive. Note that you can use date and time tags in the report name to distinguish your reports. To show you the saved report, I will select Execute Now again and browse to the folder. In the saved report folder, open the HTML file to view your report. fluidReports is also able to email reports, as I will now demonstrate. Open the email configuration and enter a from address. Enter a subject line for your report. Enter the SMTP server that you will use, and the recipient addresses for those who will receive the report. You can send a test email to check if your configuration is correct. Note that an Exchange server is also supported for outgoing mail. I've completed the email configuration, so I will generate a report one last time and wait for the incoming mail. My report has arrived and I can open it to show you. This demonstrates the power of fluidReports, bringing your data to your fingertips and always keeping you up to date of the status of your plant. The last option enables you to publish your reports on a web server that's accessible over the internet, but that will also be discussed in another video. I've completed the design of my report and I can save all the settings to disk. Thank you for watching the video on how to design a report. Be sure to watch the other videos covering the more advanced functions in fluidReports.